Hi, it's Lynn, and I have a person that had fibromyalgia, and I want to say had because I don't want it anymore. And that's wording is makes a difference. So this is a new year, and I want to ask you, what are you doing about your fibromyalgia? And if you're going to do the same thing that you were doing last year, and not getting any results, that's what's going to happen again this year. So I want to encourage you to research, do things that would help you. Now, what kind of things help you? Well, everybody's different. There'll be a different reason why you have fibromyalgia, and that is something that you need to look into. And I'm going to say that for me, I have found some things that have helped me, and I'm going to say that it wasn't the new year that was the catalyst for me to make a change in my life, because where we are is from what we've been doing in the past. And what changed for me was I went to uh, a support group, and please understand, I'm not cutting down any support groups. Support groups are important for people. But for me, what happened was I got in there and they told me that, you know what, you need to go to the support group. You need to be looking at, what's going on with you and accepting it. And so I went to the support group, and people were in wheelchairs, and people were using walkers and having someone help them, and they were rubbing their arms like this, and this is what I was doing. I was like, oh my goodness, this is my future. I don't want to go there. There's got to be something that will help me. There has to be something that will make a difference in my life. So that was really the catalyst that made a change for me in looking at what can I do about my fibromyalgia, or get what was going on in my body. So that was what was the change for me. So I'm going to ask you, what's going to make it, that's going to make a change for you, that you can look at doing something different. And I always say that when you're ready, the universe provides. And there was a few things that worked for me, and it was a journey. I'm not going to say that everything happened overnight, and I don't expect it will happen overnight for you either. And one of the biggest things was my mindset. I mean, I did things like I did cognitive behavior therapy, which is a way of helping you think more positively, that not seeing everything as, oh my goodness, what's wrong with this? It is looking at and saying, okay, this is not what I want. What can be different about it, and what is good about it? Just switching the way you look at things, switching your perception was a big one for me. And that was the start. And then, of course, I had to do some things around my diet. I actually was pretty good on my diet because I lived on a farm. And quite frankly, I mean, we ate out of the garden, and we had fresh eggs, and we had fresh meat and all that kind of stuff. So that wasn't a big switch for me. However, I did like some sugar, and I did know that there were some things that weren't healthy for me, and I did change some of those things out of my diet. The other piece that was important for me, and I'm sure that it can be for you as well, is looking at my boundaries. And I had to change my boundary first, because I would say yes to a lot of things that I, number one, didn't have the energy for, and number two, that would stress me out because I didn't have the time to do it, but yet I would say yes, and then I'd get all overwhelmed, and then I wouldn't. And where I took the time away from was time away from me and my family, or specifically time away from me when I needed to have time to rejuvenate. As you know, that having stress with fibromyalgia is a huge trigger. When you do get it under control, it's a huge trigger for flares. So you want to I had to really look at that piece and help look at what was stressing me and changing those things in my life, setting boundaries around. I was a bit of a workaholic, to be honest, and I had to make some changes. Like, I have to go. Times I went to bed, times when I took time off, making a boundary between work and home, making a boundary between what I would say, and scheduling time for me. And the other piece that I needed to do around was movement. And, I want to say that I was really originally going to start with that having a mindset around doing it, making a change is huge. And I really didn't want to acknowledge that I needed to make a change. And that was a big one for me until I went to that support group and seen that I needed to do something different. So the other piece was, at one point in my life, I was actually in a wheelchair in my journey. And I am actually going to be starting to do some painting. Now, 15 years ago, I couldn't have done it. 20 years ago, I definitely couldn't have done it. 10 years ago, I might have helped out, but I actually have torn the room apart with a little bit of help from my husband, but most of it I've done by myself, packing up the stuff out of it. And I couldn't have done that before without all those changes I've made in my life. And so, yeah, if they tell you that it's going to get worse, I'm going to tell you that, yes, it can if you believe them. But if you want to make some changes, it can be different. And it has been different for me. And yes, at one point I was in a wheelchair. And that was a good opportunity for some more reflections about things I needed to change in my life. And so throughout my life, I have done some coaching to help me to get, because where you are, sometimes you don't see what you need to change. I don't know, does that make sense? So, like, I guess what I'm saying is, you think you're okay where you are, but someone else looking at you can say, well, yeah, but why are you doing this? And honestly, the people that made me ticked off were the ones that actually were helpful in me making some changes. Because, if someone would say to me, why are you doing all these things? Like, oh, yeah, I don't know. Why am I? Because I just would say yes, 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 yes. I mean, I got into a habit of saying yes. So I needed somebody to say, why are you doing that? Or in some cases, some of the products that I even tried, it was like basically my daughter was like, why don't you try these essential oils? I was like, that's a bunch of woo-doo stuff. I'm not doing that. And then she's going, well, nothing else is working. At least try it. I was like, so it was, and out of being annoyed with her, I tried it and it worked. That was another annoying thing. But anyhow, that was part of my journey. So I just, sometimes the people that kind of tick you off around what you're saying can help you to move towards making changes. And if you're open to it, then I believe the universe will provide people in your pathway that will help you to think differently, help you to move differently, help you to make changes if you want to change. And I'm going to, this really annoyed me when someone said this to me, was like, are you in the position you're in because that's what you want to be? I was like, no. Well, honestly, you're there because of all the choices you've made in the past, and this might tick somebody off. And I'm not going to say that I'm sorry, because I hope what it does is help you to think. Even sometimes things happen in our life that I know some people get fibromyalgia from accidents and stuff like that, and it may not necessarily be an action on your part, but somehow you were in that position. And the universe has a reason for that. And I want to say to you that you can make a change. You can do something that will help you or help someone else. I'm always hesitant to say this because I'm going to tell you, I was really angry when someone told me that, actually asked me, do you like being ill? Because maybe it serves a purpose in your life that you're ill. Maybe you feel like you need looking after, and that's why you're ill. Um, is that how you want to spend the rest of your life? And that was like, don't talk to me like that. But I had to think about that. And I didn't, yeah, I got angry about it. And then I got thinking, oh, if I don't make any changes, that's what's continuing to happen. Is that what I want? Am I using this for a purpose, in that is this illness serving me? And is that how I want my rest of my life? And no, it wasn't. And that was the catalyst in making me look for things to help me to change. And I guess I just want, and you can, like, as I said, I mean, at one point I was in a wheelchair. At one point, my husband, my legs would give out. My husband would have to carry me out of the stores. I mean, I was there at one point. I wake up in the morning feeling like I was run over by a truck. I couldn't function in the mornings. Fortunately, I had an employer that was okay with me coming in later in the day when I could get myself going, until I got myself together. And yes, it didn't happen overnight. And no, it didn't happen with just me. I did have people that helped me. And so hey, I'm happy to chat with you for 15 minutes. If you would like, if that would be of interest to you, just let me know. And also I do have a subscription that is what I've done through the years to help me to be where I am today, that I can go and clean out a family room and paint it. So and it's in the description below if that you're interested in something like that. It's like an action plan every week. So look at this. Is this what's going on? Do you do this in your life? Is this someplace you can change? And this is a tip around changing so that you can do that. And that comes out once a week. And that's a subscription. If it's in below, if you want to look at that, or if you want to give me a chat with me, I'm happy to do that. Just send me a message. My contact information is below. So I hope I have inspired you to look at what you're doing, inspired you to make some changes, and one thing at a time. Have an awesome day.